Okay, let's dive right into this explainer. Today, we're going to explore a highly analytical yet intensely personal framework created by an author searching for meaning and peace in life's later stages, what they call the third act. Imagine blending the hard, clinical laws of physics, the deep introspection of psychology, and the ancient wisdom of Stoicism, just to map out a successful, active retirement. That is exactly the fascinating journey we're embarking on today. To get a real grip on this roadmap, we're going to follow the author's journey through 5 core mental models. We'll hit the third act of life, the physics of personal boundaries, escaping Mount Stupid, the power of enough, and wrap up with achieving calm and modest tranquility. Simple enough, right? Let's get to it. So, part 1, the third act of life. First up, how does the author actually define this unique phase of life and the massive transition it requires of us? Well, they drop this profound observation. We are all living life for the first time. There is no dress rehearsal. I mean, isn't that the truth? Life is this wild, inescapable mix of uncertainty and pain. Waking up in a crazy world and still choosing to plant flowers, that takes serious, self-motivated work and acute awareness. Because let's be real, we're all essentially just figuring it out as we go. And that's exactly why having a mental framework for aging is absolutely crucial. Now, there is a massive difference between the earlier and later phases of our lives. The author contrasts 2 major transitions here. Your first transition, usually earlier in life, is fundamentally all about wanting more, building the career, acquiring assets, expanding your reach. But this second transition, moving into that third act, requires a complete paradigm shift. It's all about the acceptance of enough. The author points out that the only real mistake you can make here is getting stuck in the past, basically failing to launch into this new reality. Moving right along to part 2, the physics of personal boundaries. Okay, this is where it gets super interesting. The author makes a hard pivot into science to manage emotional boundaries. They literally apply the cold clinical laws of thermodynamics to our highly personal spaces. Enter enthalpy and entropy. In this framework, enthalpy is that vital internal energy you have to expend to maintain your own personal closed system. It's the energy for thinking, for awareness, and for keeping a positive flow inside your own boundaries. Entropy, on the flip side, is the chaos. It's the unpredictability and wildness of life outside that system. Both are totally necessary for a good life, but man, they have to be carefully balanced. So how do we balance them? The author lays out some rules for this closed system. First, you start small, with yourself, and only expand to what truly matters. You've got to appreciate what's inside your system, and whatever you do, don't make it too large, because too much entropy, that becomes a serious problem. The author uses this brilliant camper van analogy. Think of your internal system as the secure, cozy inside of a camper van. You can drive this van around, open the doors, and let in all that vibrant entropy of, say, Yellowstone or Florida. It's fun, but you strictly control the inside of the van. You maintain your boundaries while still getting to freely experience the chaos of the outside world. Which brings us to part 3, escaping Mount Stupid. Let's shift over to psychology and look at this endless daily battle for self-awareness that the author describes so vividly. This psychological journey of aging and self-actualization maps perfectly onto the famous Dunning-Kruger effect. See, you start way up high on this peak labeled Mount Stupid, which is basically characterized by naive overconfidence and a total lack of awareness. Then bam, reality hits hard, and you tumble down into this deep valley of despair, dealing with life and its endless complications. But if you put in the hard work of self-awareness, you eventually climb up the slope of enlightenment, finally reaching what the author calls the plateau of sustainability, a state of being calm and modest. But how do you actually climb out of that despair? Well, the framework gives us 3 crucial steps to shift our focus away from external validation. Step 1, you need a genuine willingness to change, to live from the inside out instead of the outside in. Step 2 is prioritizing deep self-awareness over that restless, never-ending pursuit of success. And step 3, this is a big one, accepting impermanence. You have to recognize that the only 2 things you know for absolute sure are that you're alive right now and that you will eventually die. The ultimate goal of this climb, it's simply finding the joy of being yourself. All right, on to part 4, the power of enough. As we move from the highly analytical side into the emotional, we hit the author's deeply resonant concept of true abundance in retirement. And this takes a massive mindset shift. We have to move away from that narrow, self-centered perspective where net worth is self-worth. Instead, we need a broader, more inclusive way of thinking, summed up perfectly by that old proverb, enough is as good as a feast. Actually, transitioning from a mindset of duty, constantly striving to get enough, to a mindset of profound freedom, realizing you already have enough, is the absolute defining characteristic of a successful transition into this phase of life. To actively practice this abundance, the author gives us some concrete, daily principles to keep that positive flow going. You've got to accept impermanence. You need to actually celebrate the achievement of having enough. Work to minimize suffering, push back on your ego's endless demands, and, I love this one, chase goosebumps. Chase profound experiences, and fiercely prioritize family and nature. It's a deliberate, daily practice of, as the author beautifully puts it, savoring the sweet while remembering the bitter. Finally, we reach part 5, achieving calm and modest tranquility. So all these different models we've talked about, the camper van boundaries, the thermodynamic energy balancing, climbing up the Dunning-Kruger slope, they all culminate in one very specific philosophical destination. And that destination is euthymia. The author zeroes in on this ancient Greek concept, defining it as total confidence in yourself and the unwavering belief that you are on the right path. It's not about chasing thrilling highs or wallowing in devastating lows. It's about achieving a smooth, steady course of mind that is totally at peace with its own condition. You're no longer getting thrown off by all the different tracks of other people crossing yours. The author actually found a ton of inspiration in the ancient writings of the Stoic philosopher Seneca. By anchoring their modern, deeply personal struggles with ego and aging in these ancient texts on tranquility, the author shows us something really important. The pursuit of a calm, modest, and self-actualized life, it isn't just some new wellness trend. It is a timeless, fundamental human endeavor. As we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with one final, incredibly provocative question pulled straight from the author's notes. Ask yourself, are you constantly trying to get somewhere? Or can you finally accept just being someplace? It's a really powerful thought to carry with you today. I highly encourage you to examine your own campervan boundaries, evaluate your self-awareness, and really redefine your own concept of enough as you navigate the inevitable transitions of your own incredible life.